Alright, well, I'm out here today with my partner, and she, while running out, came across that Texas coral snake that we just profiled in the video, and we were able to relocate it using her directions almost 45 minutes later probably.
Yeah.
So quite a bit later, which is really cool. And I have looked for coral snakes all my life. We have some coral snakes in North Carolina, and I have never seen one in the wild. I've seen them in collections and I've seen them in museums, but I've never seen them in the wild, and so that was very cool. And of course, I've never seen a Texas coral snake because we don't have Texas coral snakes in North Carolina, but Dr. Pollock here was able to use her expertise to help me locate it. Alright, right now we have a Texas coral snake right here moving through the grass. Not a snake that I'm really going to handle, although I may get it out a little bit so we can get a better view of it, but I'm not going to mess with it with my hands. Obviously this is a venomous snake. Here's its tail. It's an elapid, so it's in the same clade as cobras and other fixed fang snakes. So unlike the rattlesnake or the cottonmouth or the copperhead, which have hinged fangs and are vipers, this is an elapid. So this is a snake that has fixed fangs and is actually the most venomous snake in North America. Although they're pretty docile, as you can see. The snake is completely ignoring me and does not care whatsoever. I'm sitting here walking with Sarah, and we were talking about oh, there's a little lizard. We were talking about venomous snakes and discussing kind of what I said earlier when I said coral snakes are the most venomous snake in North America. And that's a pretty ambiguous statement. What that really means is that coral snakes have the most toxic venom of any snake in North America. But they're not the most dangerous snake. Obviously, if you could tell from that video, I was pretty close to it. It was very placid. And the western diamondback rattlesnake is probably the most dangerous snake in North America. They're the most reported bites from western diamondback rattlesnakes in the United States, and they are the primary killer of people in northern Mexico. So it's a little bit ambiguous to say they're the most venomous snake, but they have the most toxic venom of any snake in North America. But they don't really lead to the most deaths. They're pretty common here, but they're really elusive snakes. You don't often see them. I made the comment the last time it rained to Sarah that we had a higher likelihood of seeing coral snakes right after it rains because they're just a little bit more active and stuff. And that proved to be true this time, although our sample size is one. But there are coral snakes here, and actually it's in about the same spot that Sarah saw one, I know, like 8 months ago or so.
Yep.
So we'll end up walking back by that snake again and see if it's still around that area just for the heck of it, but we will not mess with it this time and try to irritate it because we've probably stressed it out aplenty for today. Really large green anole here. It might be hard to see. Right in there, giving me the stink eye. These are always a fun animal to try to catch, but they're kind of funny. We used to, back in the day, and this was probably unethical and we would never do it nowadays, but when we used to catch them doing demographic work, we would if there was a bunch of them, we would hang them from our earlobes in order to hold on to them because they would just clamp on and hang on. Never do that today, but when you're 17 and you're still kind of dumb, you make weird decisions. I just want to point out that along with that theme of looking at reptiles in anthropogenic spaces, we found the coral snake just right over here. Well, it was first seen on the left-hand side of the trail right here, and then we saw it further in this kind of more open area over here. So when we're looking for these animals, and when we're looking directly in anthropogenic spaces, there's a lizard that just ran over there. We're looking at these spaces that are opened up by humans, which create these really nice foraging areas for snakes that behave in particular ways. Right now we're going to head down to the creek area where we saw that Nerodia, that plain-bellied water snake, and the area where the coach whip used to live before its untimely end, and see what we can turn up. There's nothing ever in there. Oh, the flat rock over here. I can't remember the rock we found a toad under that one time.
Yeah, it was over in this area.
It was over there, I think. Just crickets, some beetles, snail shells. I'm back over in this area where all those boards are that I've only ever seen anything with Sarah. We got a nice big Gulf Coast toad here.
Really likes this tire.
Yeah, this is the second time we've seen him under this inner tube.
Yeah.
He's trying to hide. I try not to mess with toads too much, mainly because I don't want to get peed on. But I guess I should probably grab him out just so you can see kind of how big he is. Oh. It's a pretty big Gulf Coast toad. Oh. Come here. Pretty big Gulf Coast toad. Nice looking. Here to help me hold it. We've got a nice cool scorpion here, a bark scorpion.
Oh, that's the same spot we saw before.
Yeah, we've actually seen I don't know where it went. Actually, we've seen several bark scorpions today earlier in the trip, which Sarah got some pictures of, but I don't really see where it went.
So many pill bugs.
Well, maybe I got it in on the video. Well, not really here to find scorpions, so I'm not going to look that hard. I'm going to come and flip this board here really quickly. Lots of pill bugs, roly-polies. Not a whole lot of what we're actually looking for, though. Got it. This little burrow under here. Try to get this up and see what I can see. Got this big burrow that's buried underneath this board and the in this rubber matting or inner tube or whatever it is. No idea what made it, but it's very cool. It's cricket frog, I believe. Still getting to know my Texas reptiles and amphibians, but I think that's what it is. Got a very narrow, pointy, triangular head, which is pretty cool. I think this is the second one we've seen, but I found it just flipping little bits of plywood just shoot down the trail a little bit from the old coach whip spot and across the trail from like some other boards I like. Oh, it just jumped out of my hand. Well, our little frog got away. Luckily it was right next to where we picked him up, but in trying to find him, Sarah came very close to finding and becoming very close, intimate friends with a scorpion.
Right under my toes.
Yeah, a little bark scorpion, which would have been incredibly painful to be stung by. All right, we're gonna check out these boards right here, see if we can turn anything up, and if not, then I'm hungry. Are you hungry?
Hungry too.
We're gonna go get food. All right, so we're done. Did a little bit of rearranging of those last boards to try to make them a little bit more conducive to some reptiles, particularly snakes. So what did we see today, Sarah?
So we saw a coral snake, which was super exciting because we haven't really gotten a good look at one yet. And you hadn't seen one before.
Never seen one ever.
Yeah. I saw some scorpions. What else did we find?
The Blanchard's cricket frog.
The toad.
And yeah, the Gulf Coast toad. Almost dropped the phone. So I used to do this as a profession. Now I'm an anthropologist, and I'll be doing work with multi-species relations in the Amazon and Ecuador soon, hopefully, depending on how things play out with international travel. But dealing with reptiles and other non-human animals is kind of right in my wheelhouse. And Sarah is a sociologist. She studies people, and at some point I'll have her go into more detail about the cool things that she does. Although she did help me teach a primate field school at the Lemur Conservation Foundation in Maca City, Florida, with Dr. Lydia Light one time, and that was fun. So she got to learn how to study primates.
Yeah.
But she doesn't, non-human animals aren't really typically in her wheelhouse. What do you think about doing all this as a sociologist?
Well, actually, one of the first things that you'd said in the video today was about how, I don't know how much you mentioned this, but the reason I knew to look out for the coral snake when I was running today was because as I was running along the path, someone who was coming towards me said, "Oh, by the way, there's a snake up ahead, so keep an eye out for it." And so I was thinking about the way that people use the trail, and especially if you have dogs or if you have kids or something, there are these interactions that happen about animals, and sometimes you'll see people stopped on the path. And so in thinking about what Adam's doing, where you're thinking about this anthropogenic space, also thinking about the way that people are interacting with one another to make sense of what they're seeing, to share like cool sights, check out this animal. And so in a way, there's those interactions happening too. We can think about how people are, interacting around their encounters with these animals and the things that they find wonder.